She lost everything on a Tuesday morning: her job, her apartment, and the man she thought she'd marry. But 3 days later, she woke up to an email that changed everything. A company she'd applied to 2 years ago suddenly offered her a dream position in the exact city she had written in her journal months before. How did life collapse completely, only to rebuild itself in perfect order without her doing a thing? Emma didn't manifest this through vision boards or affirmations. It happened after she gave up, after she stopped trying. The question is, how can surrender create miracles that control never could? Stay with me until the end, and you'll see why the moment she let go, the universe began to move. Emma was the kind of woman who believed peace came from control. Every part of her life had a plan: color-coded schedules, daily affirmations, and a 5-year roadmap taped to her wall. To everyone around her, she looked successful, but inside, she was exhausted, constantly fighting the fear that if she stopped managing everything, her whole life would fall apart. She wasn't chasing success anymore. She was running from chaos. Her therapist called it overfunctioning. Her best friend Daniel called it trying to play God. But Emma called it survival. She believed that if she could just keep every piece in place, happiness would finally stay. But what she didn't know was that the universe had been trying to speak to her, not through success, but through collapse. Because sometimes life doesn't break to destroy you, it breaks to free you. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to Manifestation Journey Stories, because here you'll discover real stories that prove one simple truth. The moment you stop forcing life to work, it starts working for you. Emma woke up every morning before sunrise. She'd light a candle, write her affirmations, and check her manifestation list as if the universe were an employee waiting for her instructions. If something didn't happen fast enough, she'd redo the vision board, rewrite the plan, and repeat her mantras louder. Control felt holy, like the only way to avoid failure. But behind every list, every ritual, every "I've got this" was fear. Fear that life would stop loving her if she stopped managing it. At work, she was the woman who fixed everything, even problems that weren't hers. She handled her boss's chaos, her boyfriend's moods, her family's expectations. Her friends envied her discipline, but no one saw how tense her hands were when she smiled. The truth was, Emma didn't trust the flow. She trusted her anxiety. And anxiety had become her identity. She thought letting go meant losing control, but in reality, control was what was controlling her. Daniel, her closest friend, once told her, "You know, Em, even the ocean surrenders to the tide." She laughed it off, sipping her coffee like she didn't hear him. But those words lingered, like a line from a dream she couldn't forget. Deep down, she wondered what it would feel like to stop pushing, even for a day. But the thought scared her, because if she stopped, what would hold her world together? So she kept tightening her grip. Every delay felt like an insult from the universe. Every disappointment a reminder that she needed to work harder. She believed she was co-creating her destiny, but what she was really doing was resisting it. She was forcing the flow to move at her command, not realizing that the river never needed her permission to reach the sea. And soon, the water she tried to control would start to overflow. Because no matter how tightly you hold on to life, there comes a moment when life pulls back and reminds you It was never in your hands to begin with. The first sign came quietly, disguised as a small inconvenience, a tiny crack in the structure she thought would never break.
It started on an ordinary Tuesday. The kind of morning where everything looks normal, but the air feels slightly heavier, like something invisible is about to shift. Emma spilled her coffee, missed an important call, and arrived at a meeting for the first time in years. Her boss's expression wasn't angry, it was tired. That scared her more. By noon, she was called into the office and told her position was being restructured. Her job, the one she built her identity around, was gone in a 15-minute conversation. The paper she signed felt heavier than her own body. Her perfectly planned world was starting to shake. When she walked out of the building, the sky opened up. Rain poured down, soaking her in seconds, but she didn't move. She stared at the clouds as if demanding an explanation from the universe she thought she could control. Her phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Breathe. You're being redirected, not punished." She wanted to believe him, but all she could feel was humiliation. Losing control didn't feel like freedom. It felt like drowning. That night, silence filled her apartment like a living thing. She sat on the floor, surrounded by unpaid bills, an unopened journal, and a single flickering candle. For the first time in years, she couldn't plan her next move. No vision board could fix this. Her boyfriend didn't answer her calls, and her body was shaking not from fear, but from release. It was as if the energy she'd been holding for years was finally collapsing under its own weight. Hours passed. The city outside kept moving, but she didn't. She whispered into the darkness, "What am I supposed to do now?" And for the first time, there was no answer. No plan, no sign, no structure. Only stillness. But inside that silence, something tiny flickered. Not hope, not clarity, but the faint sense that maybe she didn't need to fix this moment. Maybe this moment was fixing her. She fell asleep on the floor, tears drying on her face, surrounded by the ruins of everything she thought she was. And somewhere between the sound of the rain and her heartbeat, something unseen began to move, quietly rearranging her life from the inside out. If you've ever had a moment like that, when life seemed to fall apart just before it came together, take a second to like this video, because sometimes even pressing that small button is a way of saying, "I'm ready to trust the flow again." The storm outside had slowed to a soft drizzle. Emma woke up on the floor, her face pressed against a pile of unopened mail. Her body ached, but her mind, for the first time in months, was quiet. No plans, no shoulds, no self-criticism. Just the rhythm of the rain tapping against her window, steady and almost hypnotic. For once, she didn't reach for her phone, her journal, or her endless to-do list. She stood up and walked to the balcony. The air smelled like new beginnings, though she couldn't have said why. Down below, the city lights shimmered on the wet pavement like tiny universes reflecting her confusion. She whispered into the night, "If you're really there, I can't do this anymore." Her voice cracked, dissolving into the sound of thunder far away. It wasn't a prayer of control. It was a surrender born from exhaustion. And then it happened. A small vibration came from her phone, a new message from an unknown number. It read, "Sometimes life takes away what you're clinging to, only to return what's truly yours." She froze. No name, no context, no previous thread. Just those words, precise enough to shatter her disbelief. Goosebumps ran down her arms as if her soul recognized the truth before her mind could. She called Daniel, voice trembling. "You're not going to believe this," she said, reading him the message. He was silent for a moment, then replied softly, "Maybe the universe finally got your attention." They both laughed, not because it was funny, but because it felt impossible. Something beyond logic was at work, and for the first time, she didn't need to understand it. That night, she didn't make a new plan. She didn't search for signs or rewrite her goals. She simply sat in the quiet, breathing slowly, letting the world move without her interference. In that silence, something invisible within her began to rearrange, the beginning of a peace that didn't need explanation. Because when you finally stop chasing the plan starts finding you.
A week later, Emma received another email, this time from the same company that had interviewed her. She took a deep breath before opening it. Her hands trembled as she read, "We loved meeting you, but we've chosen another candidate." For a split second, her old instincts kicked in, the urge to panic, to plan, to fix. But then she remembered the rain, the message, the silence that had saved her. She closed her eyes and whispered, "If it's not mine, something better is coming." Daniel called that night ready to console her, but she surprised him. "It's strange," she said softly. "I'm not upset. I feel guided." He laughed. "Who are you and what have you done with the old Emma?" "I think she's gone," she replied, half smiling. In that moment, she realized something powerful. Peace doesn't come when everything goes right. It comes when nothing can shake your trust. And that trust had finally become her foundation. 2 days later, while walking home from the grocery store, her phone buzzed again. It was the same company. The person they had hired suddenly backed out. They asked if she was still available and if she could start immediately. She froze on the sidewalk, tears filling her eyes. It wasn't just about the job. It was about the timing, how perfect everything felt once she stopped trying to control it. The rejection had been redirection. The delay had been divine. Her first day at the new office felt surreal. The people were kind, the space was creative, and the location, just 2 blocks from her favorite coffee shop, was exactly what she'd visualized months before. Except now she didn't call it manifesting. She called it allowing. Because the moment she surrendered the plan unfolded better than she ever could have scripted. That night, standing on her balcony, under the same sky that had once witnessed her breakdown, Emma smiled and whispered, "Thank you for knowing what I didn't." She realized that life wasn't testing her, it was training her to trust. And this time, she passed the test by doing the hardest, holiest thing she'd ever done. Absolutely nothing.
Months passed, and life began to move with a rhythm Emma had never known. She no longer woke up chasing lists or goals. Her mornings began with gratitude instead of urgency. Her mind, once a battlefield of control and fear, now felt like an open sky. Thoughts drifting in and out like clouds, never staying long enough to storm. She realized the greatest miracle wasn't the job, or the timing, or the unexpected help. It was the peace that no longer depended on outcomes. One evening, Daniel invited her to a small cafe near the park, the same park where she'd cried under the rain months earlier. They talked about everything and nothing, laughing about the chaos that once felt so serious. At one point, Daniel leaned forward and said, "You're different now. You don't fight life anymore." She smiled. Maybe life was never the enemy. I just didn't know how to stop fighting. He nodded, eyes soft. You learned the secret most people never do. The universe was never asking for control. It was asking for trust. That night, Emma walked home slowly, the city glowing around her like a living heartbeat. Every step felt guided, like the ground was rising to meet her feet. The wind brushed her hair gently, almost as if the universe itself was breathing with her. She stopped on a quiet corner, looking up at the same stars she once cried under, and whispered, "I get it now." Her eyes filled with tears, not of pain this time, but gratitude, because she understood the moment she let go, she became the flow. From that night on, she stopped saying, "I'm manifesting my dreams." She started saying, "I'm allowing them." And somehow everything found its place, her career, her peace, her sense of purpose, not because she chased them, but because she stopped standing in their way. It was never about fixing life. It was about trusting it to fix itself. And in that trust, she finally found the freedom she had been searching for all along. In the end, Emma learned that surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The moment she stopped trying to control life, life began to cooperate. And maybe that's the quiet miracle waiting for each of us. The peace that appears when we finally trust that the universe knows the way. You don't need to chase every answer, fix every problem, or force every door to open. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Because when you stop trying to manage the flow, you discover it was already carrying you exactly where you were meant to go. If this story stirred something inside you, a whisper to breathe, release, and trust again, make sure to subscribe to Manifestation Journey Stories, where every episode reminds you that miracles don't happen by control, they happen by alignment. And before you go, stay a little longer. The next story on your screen will inspire you. It's not just another video, it's the message the universe might be sending you today. So click it, take a deep breath, and keep walking in trust, because your next chapter might already be unfolding right now.